going on?
Welcome to Philly Psych Ward. Think of me as a doctor or a patient, whichever you prefer.
What's going on? Solo M live and direct, straight out the streets of Philadelphia. Uh, I'm doing my first of many shows. This one's gonna be a good one. This is in defense of Jalen Hurts. You know, my quarterback, my Super Bowl MVP quarterback. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this is about letting the world know that this is not a game. Letting the world know that we love our quarterback. And in Philadelphia. So this is why we doing this show. This is why, you know, Philadelphia got the best sports fans in America because we don't play no games and we're very knowledgeable. Now they doing a hit piece, well they have done a hit piece on Jalen Hurts with ESPN, and we're going to clarify a lot of these misconceptions today. And we're going to bring proof and evidence. Because I'm a Muslim, and as a Muslim, it is a uh, it is a must that I clarify issues that when people slander individuals, even though this individual is the best quarterback in the history of the franchise, even though this quarterback, Jalen Hurts, you know, he just, it's amazing. It really is. It's amazing that people fall for these things, and people think that this man is not a good quarterback after 5, 6 years in the league, after all the work that he done, all the things that he done proved. But it's cool because everywhere Jalen Hurts go, when he went to Alabama, he won championships. He proved people wrong. When he went to when he left Alabama and went to the, uh, the other college, he proved people wrong. He was second up for the Heisman Trophy. He made CeeDee Lamb a top receiver to get the number one pick in the draft. Because before Hurst got there, did you hear about CeeDee Lamb? Did you hear about this wide receiver before he got there? So today we're gonna we want to talk about Hurts. We want to discuss these issues. All right, so I'm gonna play a video and then I'm gonna comment on that video. So here we go.
It is the last guaranteed year that Jalen Hurts has with his current contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. After this, that's it. So that lends itself more into the conversation about what are the Eagles going to do with Jalen Hurts.
I reached out to a former Eagle and I asked, is this all Sirianni? And the response was one word. Yes.
Meaning that
What
Nick
this comes
Sirianni is the
down
guy
to-
that's putting this stuff out there?
Oh, yeah. 100% it's Nick Sirianni. And it's because Jalen Hurts did not like working for his best friend. But Kevin Patullo, the former offensive coordinator, was the best friend, literally, in life of Nick Sirianni. And Jalen Hurts flat out didn't think he was a good coach. Brian Johnson, who was the offensive coordinator before Kellen Moore, was a close mentor to Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts feels that Nick Sirianni undermined him the entire time he was offensive coordinator, that he gets fired. There's a bit of a pissing contest between these two guys. And the question is, who's going to win if they don't win? If they win, nothing matters. But if they don't win, who's going to win? The franchise quarterback or the head coach? Because the answer is not both.
All right, let's start right there. Let's start right there. Now, when Jalen Hurts first came to Philadelphia, right? Carson Wentz was the quarterback, and Carson Wentz had a team that was basically decimated with injuries. We only had out of the starting uh, 11 people on the team. The entire offensive line was injured. The wide receivers were injured, and the only person that was healthy was Kelsey and Carson Wentz. That's the only two people in the entire offense that was healthy was Carson Wentz and Kelsey. So they couldn't win. They couldn't get the job done. But when Jalen Hurts came into the starting position, he played the New Orleans Saints, which at the time was the number one defense in the league, and they was a heavy favorite. The Eagles was we was the underdogs that game. Go back and look at the tape. And Hurts won his first game against the Saints. He beat them with all this same offense that Carson Wentz couldn't do anything with, couldn't do nothing with. Hurts came in there and he won the game, right? And he won a couple other games that year. I think he won like maybe two games, 2 or 3 games. The last game of the season was against Washington, and they benched Hurts at halftime because they didn't want him to win the game, so they can get the number 6 draft pick. If you remember, the next year coming in, Hurts became the starter. He won 9 games. He won 9-8. He went to the playoffs. Devontae Smith was a rookie that year. He lost to the Super Bowl champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cool. He didn't really have any help. A lot of the team wasn't like he was. The next year, they got AJ Brown. The next season, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, and Hurts was MVP of the league before he got hurt. Before he went down with an injury, he was MVP of the league. He was front runner. Go look at the highlights. Go look at the news scripts. He was front runner for MVP of the league. Right? He got hurt. I forgot who was the quarterback for the Eagles. I think it was the guy who came from the Jets, Sanchez. Mark Sanchez came in, lost back-to-back games to Dallas and New Orleans. Then Hurts came back and beat the Giants, and he beat the Giants in the first round. And who did he beat in the second round? Well, I think they had the number 1 seed, so they beat them in the division. Then they went to the championship and beat San Fran. Went to the championship. Hurts played lights out. He lost the Super Bowl because the Kansas City Chiefs scored on every possession in the second half. Every possession they scored, and the defense couldn't stop them. Right, so they lost the game 38-35. He's the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to put up 35 points in the Super Bowl and to lose. All right, so the next year, the Eagles started off the season 10-1. After he beat Buffalo Bills in overtime. According to Vegas, Hurts was the MVP of the league again. He was the first. He was number 1 for MVP. If the season kept going the way it was going, he was in line for MVP. 10-1, right? Now, if you know about the Eagles that year, the issue we had with the Eagles in 2023 was the defense. We had the worst defense in the NFL. And Sean Desai was our defensive coordinator. We had the worst defense in the NFL. Now, in 2023, Brian Johnson was elevated to be the offensive coordinator. He was Hurts' mentor. This is the video that I brought up. But Nick Sirianni was bullying Brian Johnson by basically taking over the play caller position, by basically doing what he wanted to do. Doing what he wanted to do. And Brian Johnson didn't get the opportunity to show what he was capable of. Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. Because if you think about that year, after that year, it was another hit piece that says that Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni is not getting along. And this is the reason why. Because Nick Sirianni was not letting Brian Johnson do his job. He was basically running interference, doing what he wanted to do, calling the plays he wanted to call. Brian Johnson was basically a figurehead. He couldn't do it, right? And people was complaining about the offense that year because Nick Sirianni was doing a bad job calling plays. So we had the worst defense in the league. After Hurts won the Buffalo game, we won 10-1. He was front runner for MVP of the league that year. The defense basically against the San Francisco, that San Francisco score on basically every drive. San Francisco didn't punt. After the first two drives, they didn't punt the rest of the game. The defense kept giving up touchdowns. In the next game against the Cowboys, the defense let them score on like the next 6 consecutive drives. Because I remember the defense gave up 11 consecutive touchdown drives in 2023 from the San Francisco to Dallas. Those 2 games. And they basically collapsed. And we lost 6 games, the next 6 games. Then we lost to Tampa Bay in the playoffs because A.J. Brown was injured. He didn't play. He was injured. He didn't play. And the defense was, if you go look at the Tampa Bay game, the defense was horrible that game. Missed tackles, giving up big plays. It was a horrible, horrible defense that game. And Devontae and Jalen, they did what they could. I think Devontae had like 180 yards receiving. Like they did what they could, but the defense, they couldn't hold it together. They gave up like 30-some points. All right, so 2024, we get another offensive coordinator. We get a veteran, Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, according to the article, Kellen Moore and Shea Steichens came together and worked on the offense, and they went to the Super Bowl. This is what the article says. I'm going to play the cut.
All this guy has done is get accustomed to change throughout his career. I mean, every year he's had a different offensive coordinator. The fact that he's been able to pull out the level of success he has with all of this turnover is insane. And this is the other part that really grinds my gears. Kellen Moore, the OC in 2024, had tried to implement new offensive concepts that Hurts did not always embrace per team sources. One of the sources said they believe the changes concerned motion and shift, recalling that Hurts was not receptive to the idea. And a third team source said Hurts was willing to experiment with new wrinkles, but if they were not paying off immediately, he was quick to pivot and express his discomfort. So you're telling me after they went in during that week 5 bye week and they completely changed the offense that Jalen wasn't willing to adapt? And here's proof right here. The next part in the article says Moore and Hurts seemed to find a compromise, successfully implementing 279 plays with motion during that season, good for 11th most in the league. There was so much creativity in the offense. It's all we talked about, how much they changed throughout the season, and it led them all the way to dominating in the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl. The real storyline, the real headline here should be, how can Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni not replicate the success that they had in 2024? And if I was Jalen Hurts and had to be subjected all season to a vanilla amateur level of play calling without any adjustments at all from the head coach after winning the Super Bowl and feeling like I'm on top of the world and we could make a potential dynasty, yeah, I'd be frustrated as well. Go to
Now, if you listen to this particular clip, he says that Jalen Hurts and Kevin Patullo came together with a successful offense, and they implemented over 290 something motions in the offense, which was 11th in the league. It went to the Super Bowl. Now, people keep saying in the article that Jalen Hurts was 23rd in the league and 24 with the offense, but it's because they was a running team, and he only threw the ball 20 times a game. That That was the win. That was the winning formula. They decided, listen, we're going to throw less and run more, which other teams implemented as well. Josh Allen as well. He had the number one running team in the league last year, number one running back, and he threw less. So that's not like uh, that's a bad thing. That's a good thing. And when you're a Super Bowl, what's the problem? You can't complain about a team that won a Super Bowl and say, well, we was number 23 in the league and throwing that year. It was a reason because you had one of the best running games of all time. Of course, he's going to take a backseat to the running game. Why not? Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't do that? That don't make any sense to complain about something that was successful. So at the end of the day, right, you have a lot of people talking. You have a lot of people saying some things. So I want to play this clip right here.
I know Dan and I have had our disagreements, and now people are jumping in. Another guy, Jalen Hurts, recorded the third most TDs through 5 seasons as a starter in NFL history, 161. So now where there was some negative, there's people coming out going, what are you people talking about? You have a different quarterback. You may never see the playoffs.
How many of those were tush push?
Well, that's one. If that's your favorite play, you go with it.
Okay.
You know, what are you going to do? Hand off to Barkley so he could get a 2-yard loss? What happens if you have a quarterback that can't do the tush push?
Mike, let me go here with this then.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So, and let me go back. Do you think Jeff Hostetler and Sam Darnold are exceptional quarterbacks?
No.
Do you think Nick Foles is an exceptional quarterback?
No.
Okay. Well, that means you can.
Because I saw him play for the Bears. People thought he'd be.
Okay.
But he wasn't.
So that means then a mediocre quarterback or average quarterback can win a Super Bowl. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Well,
because
that's my position. My position is this. I don't think Hurts is exceptional. I think he's good. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's exceptional. I think he's good on a great team. I think exceptional. This is why, Mike, have you ever heard a Super Bowl MVP ever questioned in his abilities from their own? This stuff's coming from the organization. You're not getting those people walk back into the building the next day. They're going to be in the building on Monday. Okay. So my question is, I've never heard a guy with all these things that you're saying have his ability questioned. His ability to be able to play in the pocket is being questioned. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Look, I'm of one of these guys that doesn't blame the quarterback for everything like you were talking to us Andrew about. I don't do that. But I do what you echoed earlier. Agree. They deserve the blame if things go wrong, and they deserve the credit if things go right. The problem was that this year things were going right. And then a wide receiver started crying, wanted the Eagles to change their offense, and for 3 weeks they lost because they changed because of a wide receiver. That's on the coaching staff, and that's on everybody.
All right. A couple of things I want to respond to in this clip. The first thing that I want to respond to is that he said just because Jeff Hostetler and Trent Dilfer won Super Bowls don't mean that, they were good quarterbacks. Basically, they was mediocre quarterbacks that won a Super Bowl. But the difference between Jalen Hurts and Jeff Hostetler and, Trent Dilfer is Jalen Hurts was all pro. Jalen Hurts was 3-time Pro Bowler. Jalen Hurts was front runner for MVP before he got hurt. Those quarterbacks was never in the race for MVP. Jalen Hurts took a team multiple years to the playoffs. Those quarterbacks didn't. Jalen Hurts took the same team to multiple Super Bowls. Those quarterbacks didn't. So you can't compare Jalen Hurts to those quarterbacks. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense because he did what they can't do and what they couldn't do and what they didn't do. That's just the reality to it. So you can't compare Jalen Hurts to Nick Foles because Foles went to other teams and wasn't successful. He went to Chicago. Cool. Jalen Hurts has been nothing but successful since he's been with the Eagles. Simple as that. And Hurts played in multiple Super Bowls, and he was the best player on the field in both of those Super Bowls. So you cannot compare him with Trent Dilfer and Jeff Hostetler. It's not like he's a one-hit wonder like Doug Williams. No, he has success in the regular season and success in the. He has success in the regular season and success in the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, I've never seen anything like this Jalen Hurts situation where you have a guy who is a perfect example off the field and on the field has just gone above and beyond everyone's expectations. Nobody wanted him here. And then 3 Pro Bowls, an All-Pro, Super Bowl MVP, 2 Super Bowl appearances. And everyone's just saying, you know, he's a system quarterback. He sucks. He can't be coached. This stupid article that came out yesterday was the biggest non-story ever. Somebody just needed to stir a pot. And, you know, why is this? And some people will say, well, it's because of the color of his skin, but it must be more than that because I turn on TV and people with the same skin color as him are saying the same bullshit. Ryan Clark said something along the lines of Jalen Hurts winning a Super Bowl doesn't mean that much because someone like Lamar Jackson fits the black quarterback archetype more than Jalen Hurts. Well, what does that mean? Because Jalen Hurts is articulate, well-spoken, never throws his teammates under the bus. He's a perfect example. Doesn't party. I guess that's not what he's supposed to do. I guess he needs to be less Marvin Gaye and Patty LaBelle and more Pooh Shiesty. I don't get it. It doesn't make any goddamn sense, but I'm glad Jalen Hurts is my quarterback.
All right. It's just ridiculousness after ridiculousness at this point. I got my co-host, Fulan Speaks on. What's going on? I know you had to hear that craziness as soon as you came on. This whole show is just a bunch of nonsense that we have to clear up, you know what I mean?
What's up, YouTube?
But if Ryan Clark really feels
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Flash. He's back for another one of these things. That's all. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if Ryan Clark really believes that Jalen Hurts don't represent the architect of the black quarterback, even though with the Super Bowl and Lamar Jackson do, that's his opinion at the end of the day. But
I don't believe that.
Most consider Jalen Hurts.
Let me just tell you something real quick, just on Ryan Clark. I believe Ryan Clark was being sarcastic, and the guy just didn't catch the sarcasm. And I'm only basing that on like Ryan Clark been defending Jalen Hurts forever. So I don't think he thinking that. I think he being hated on by people who I don't know. I don't think he understands it just like we don't, to be honest with you. So he's saying, all right, you're not talking about Lamar Jackson because all right, Lamar just I don't know. He wear do rags and I don't know. But I think he's being sarcastic. I really want to go see the clip to kind of get the whole thing though.
Yeah, I was trying to find the clip so I could upload it, but I couldn't really find it. I don't even know when he said it.
Yeah.
Okay. But I really wanted to find the clip.
But just knowing Ryan Clark, listening to him, I don't think that's what he was saying.
All right, so the next clip I want to play is by one of the Eagles that we put on the Eagles about nobody wants to run.
You would think so. And it certainly has been that way. They've built this offense. And because, look, I'm going to be blunt here, nobody wants to run this offense. Kellen Moore didn't want to run this offense. Nick Sirianni didn't want to run this offense. Kevin Patullo certainly didn't want to run this offense. Brian Johnson, run down the list. Nobody wants to run this offense. It's boring. It's ugly. It's not aesthetic. You have all the, wannabe film people say, this is a high school offense. Think about the absurdity of that. I've always said you got NFL coaches for 15, 20 years, and you got people on YouTube thinking they don't understand high school concepts.
All right. So, according to him, nobody wants to run the Eagles offense that Jalen Hurts likes to run. That's what he's saying. Right? But what I don't understand is, since Jalen Hurts came to this team and they decided to work with him, the offense that he ran has become the best offense in the history of the organization because they won the most games. It got to the 2 Super Bowls. So I'm confused of what do you mean nobody wants to run this offense? I don't understand it. Their logic is not logicking with me. Like, for example, nobody liked the San Antonio Spurs team because it was boring. It wasn't exciting. But they won 5 championships. In the '90s, the New Jersey Devils hockey team was a boring team, yet they won multiple titles. So I don't understand. Nobody wants to run this offense. What does that mean? Like, what type of logic is that?
If I may, my question is, what is the Eagles' offense? Like, what is it? Right? The RPO based offense really is something that the Eagles ran before Jalen Hurts even got here. If we remember in 2017, that's all everybody was talking about. RPOs when we won the Super Bowl. Because that was what Nick Foles had ran under Chip Kelly. So obviously, and this is what I believe. This is something I've been putting out there. I believe when the Philadelphia Eagles won in 2017, at that time, the RPO-based offense was like something that they were seeing as being new and innovative. And it was the newest thing at the time, and the newest craze. It's just amazing how things change. It was the newest thing, you know. And I believe Carson Wentz did not like it, right? But then it worked. And Jeffrey Lurie, one of the reasons that he fell in love with Jalen Hurts, for lack of a better word, but he liked Jalen Hurts. It's a known thing that he liked him since Oklahoma in them days. Is because Jalen Hurts, according to Lincoln Riley, was the best RPO quarterback out there. That was just what Lincoln Riley had told them. They gave this dude flying colors and everything. He went over there to Oklahoma and he ran that offense better than Baker and better than Kyler, who were there before him. Almost had he accounted for 38 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards, stuff people think he can't do. Okay. And they didn't win the championship because he didn't have enough. You know, all he had on the team was CeeDee Lamb for really. Okay. They wouldn't have been anything that year. And it's noteworthy that neither did Baker and Kyler. None of them won a championship with Oklahoma. Right. But he was runner up for Heisman. And I think Jeffrey Lurie from that time wanted him. Now, when he got to the league, Doug Peterson wasn't running that offense. Doug Peterson was running his version of the West Coast offense that he took from Andy Reid, that he took from Brett Favre, from Mike Holmgren, and all of the people he was under. So the first look at Jalen Hurts, he wasn't running RPOs. The first time we saw him, those 4 games that he played, once he got control of the offense. So, all right, that was the first time we saw him. So we saw him run something. We saw him running Doug Peterson's offense at first. Okay. When we get to 2021, we get all this talk about this damn Nick Sirianni. This is when he's hired. He comes in with whatever they had over there in Indiana. Beats me, but from the best research I've done, they were still running the K-gun offense, okay, that they were running with who was the quarterback that they had, man? Andrew Luck, okay? And Peyton Manning. Outdated ass offense, okay? This is, as far as we know, this is what Sirianni brought. The reality is that shit stunk, okay? They went 2-6 beginning of the year. And the major reason was, I don't know if it was just the formations or the plays. I don't believe it's that. Nick Sirianni was stupid when calling plays. This is the one thing that pisses me off about all of this. Is how Nick Sirianni just somehow is under the radar. He's not being talked about. When he is the elephant in the room. Like, he's the real problem. If you want to go to the real problem, it's the fact that when this guy comes in 2021, he has the offense, and we got to immediately make a change. Take the play caller from Nick Sirianni, give it to Shane Steichen. Now we run a Shane Steichen offense, and they didn't have the same offense. Shane Steichen was coming over from the Chargers. That's where he was coming from, the Chargers, known for a lot of screen passes and things like this. Is what people were saying. Nick Sirianni's coming from Indianapolis with a K-gun offense, so I don't know what happened. Are they running the same thing? Is Shane Steichen taking it and is doing it more? I think, honestly, Shane Steichen just started running the ball more. He's just smarter. Very simple. Just run the ball. I don't think it was that complicated, to be honest with you. And then the Eagles, finally, we make it to the playoffs. With Jalen Hurts, his first year as a full starter. But the key, you had to take play calling away from the head coach. That's the thing people are forgetting here. Forget all this other. You had to take play calling away from the head coach. Let's remember that. Okay. We go into 2022. Jalen Hurts, for the only time in his whole career here, and from what I understand, in college or anything, has the same play caller for 2 years. And what happens? Oh, man. All of a sudden, Eagles is off to what, a 10-0 start, right? He's by far and away the MVP of the year, of the season, until he gets hurt in a game where they kept calling freaking running plays up the middle in Chicago. I don't know what the hell that was, okay? But he's MVP. I mean, until, he gets hurt. All pro that year. Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. And this dude's first year as a starter. When the hell that ever happened for the Eagles? Ever. See this? I've been watching Eagles since the 80s. They ain't telling me nothing. Ain't nothing like that ever happened. Some of y'all can sit there and hate and act like it, whatever. That ain't never happened. The guy gets the coordinator twice for 2 years to go to Super Bowl. You lose. Why? Not because of the offense. Shit. They said he scored the most points out of any team that was on the losing side in the Super Bowl history. But guess what? Yeah, the defense, they couldn't get a stop in the whole second half of a game. So, I don't know. To me, I don't think you're blaming Jalen Hurts. So, again, Jalen Hurts ain't to blame. But guess who couldn't help? Nick Sirianni. He couldn't help because he's on the sideline. He don't know what to do. All right? And this ain't the first time that happened. That's what it is. We lose that Super Bowl. Okay, whatever. Shane Steichen gets hired. Okay? I think the Eagles should have took Shane Steichen, and to me, you give him a promotion. Make him the head coach. Why? Because the key to the turnaround of everything was him taking Nick Sirianni's job. So for real, he should have took his job for real. To me. But, whatever. After Shane Steichen gets another job, now Nick Sirianni's back in charge because Shane Steichen is gone. So now we get Brian Johnson, a guy who was the quarterback coach. The Eagles, I guess they thinking, all right, maybe since he was there, maybe he can run something similar to what Shane Steichen was doing. Now, 2023 is very important, and what bothers me is why in this article, which I got right here, I don't see no talk about whatever the hell happened in 2023. I got a lot of questions. I still want to know what happened in 2023.
Yeah.
The only thing we know.
Remember they wrote the Hurts and Sirianni was having problems. What the issue was.
Right. The only thing we hear is that there's these problems here between Sirianni and Hurts. There's these problems between Hurts and AJ. These problems with AJ and Brian Johnson. Right. It's just a bunch of craziness. Now, the biggest problem that people don't talk about was what was going on the defense. Jonathan Gannon was going too. Jonathan Gannon to me always was bad, but he was going and it went from bad to worse. We brought in Sean Desai and Matt Patricia. So you had a combination of them two. That was the worst defense in the league. And this is amazing. They talk about Jalen Hurts needs everything. Jalen Hurts can't survive without everything being perfect. Well, Jalen Hurts had the 30th ranked defense in the league. And guess what? He started out 10-0. Something that Jalen Hurts who need this, who need that. He's so, according to Fatso that you had on earlier, fat 12 sandwich eating bastard. What's the dude? What the hell's his name? Cilio.
And
Silly
Silly
Cilio. Yeah, silly Cilio, 12 sandwich eating bastard. Jalen Hurts is just good, on a great team and all this. Well, when he had the 30th ranked defense, we won 11 games? How did Joe Burrow do with the 30th ranked defense? How you do?
and he was
I want to know.
MVP.
Huh?
I said he was front runner for MVP after he beat Buffalo in overtime.
Yeah. And we're talking about a first ranked schedule with a gauntlet they went through. They finally caught up to us because defense was bad and all that. Yeah, they caught up. But that people act like that was the worst season they ever seen. But if you really study that season, it was very successful, to be honest with you, considering the situation, what he had to work with. I promise you that. But I remember that year, it was this big thing about, oh, man, he's not a leader. It was a bunch of crap that year, too, just like this year. Bunch of crap. I remember spazzing out on my shit.
I'm going to play the tip by Tyrone.
It is the last guaranteed year that Jalen Hurts has with his current contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. After this, that's it. So that lends itself more into the conversation about what are the Eagles going to do with Jalen Hurts.
I reached out to a former Eagle and I asked, is this all Sirianni? And the response was one word. Yes.
Meaning that Nick Sirianni is the guy that's putting this stuff out there?
Oh, yeah. 100% is Nick Sirianni. And it's because Jalen Hurts did not like working for his best friend. But Kevin Patullo, the former offensive coordinator, was the best friend, literally, in life of Nick Sirianni. And Jalen Hurts flat out didn't think he was a good coach. Brian Johnson, who was the offensive coordinator before Kellen Moore, was a close mentor to Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts feels that Nick Sirianni undermined him the entire time he was offensive coordinator, that he gets fired. There's a bit of a pissing contest between these two guys. And the question is, who's going to win if they don't win? If they win, nothing matters. But if they don't win, who's going to win, the franchise quarterback or the head coach? Because the answer is not both.
So what you think of that?
That pisses me off, bro. That pisses me off. Only because the Eagles got to handle that, man. If that's real, the Eagles got to handle that, man. You got to handle that. You got to make a choice. Do what you got to do, man. If you think Nick Sirianni is all that, you really do. A dude that you had to take the play caller from. You think he like that? Then get a different quarterback. Go ahead. If you think that, and make Sirianni call the plays since he like that, because I don't see why you got to keep him. I don't get it. For what? Like, what did he do that somebody else can't do?
That's crazy. He basically, Kevin Patullo was his best friend, and he pissed off that he got fired, and he blaming Jalen, so he leaking all this information, slandering his name. That's crazy.
Damn, I just wish I knew who Tyrone talked to, man. That's all. That's all. But I guess you can't find that out. But damn, wow,
And
that's wild.
Undermined Brian the entire time he was offensive. I knew he was.
Oh yeah, we knew that. Yeah, we knew that. But that's some serious info right there.
Man, that makes me think of Nick Sirianni as a slime ball. I hope that's not true. Because if it is true, he's a slime ball. And he knows Jalen not going to respond.
It makes sense to me. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I believe it's Nick and Patullo that's behind all this.
Yes.
I definitely believe they talked to Patullo, but they ain't talked to Hurts at all. Like, if you're going to write a real article, talk to both sides and then write the article. How you going to talk to one side and then write an article? I don't respect that. Anyway, I just don't. That's just the same as, like, if I'm a judge, I'm only going to listen to the plaintiff and not listen to the defendant. Can't do that. Can't. So I don't care nothing about it.
Behind scenes or whatever, you can't prove or disprove.
It's just if it all boils down to you the type of person into rumors or you're not. I don't live my life about rumors and based on that. So this don't mean nothing to me. Period. But what I don't understand, what I don't understand about all of this is how the coach is just under the radar when anybody got any common sense can tell he's the reason for like 90% of the problems. Clearly. But yeah, go ahead, bro.
He's the reason why we can't keep an offensive coordinator because he don't know how to call plays. He's the reason why you got wide receivers going and criticizing because he don't know how to talk to him. We need the owner to talk to the receiver because the head coach is incapable of doing that.
He can't even keep order. He up there ready to fight Jalen Carter, freaking AJ, all of that.
Yeah, like Andy Reid would never allow that. He cut people. You do certain things to get out of line. So here's another clip with the fat bastard you talking about.
And I hear all that, but in the offseason,
you're taking a chance, Dan. That's all I'm saying. It's better to know the devil you got than the devil you don't know.
But Mike, okay, here, and I'm going to go where you just went. Yeah. Okay, then why did they fire the entire offensive coaching staff if AJ wasn't right? Because they fired the entire offensive coaching staff. They got a brand new coordinator. They got a Sean McVay guy, and they want to go down that lane. I'm with you, Mike. Mike, you had 4 years where you won 2 NFC championships. Yeah. You won a Super Bowl. Why are you changing then if you are the Eagles on the you were 50-18? Why are you changing?
I agree.
If you don't think that quarterback can
Why did Brian Billick end his career by changing from Trent Dilfer to Elvis Gerbach?
It makes no sense.
Why?
Ego.
Right. That's what it was, because he was known as an offensive guru.
Minnesota.
And his defenses got the job done. So he said, well, wait a minute. What about me? He actually threw a Super Bowl team away because he wasn't happy, which sounds like the same thing with this, although Jalen Hurts is 10 times heads and tails better than Trent Dilfer.
It's a stupid ass question.
Basically, he said, "Why are you free?"
You change it because you have a head coach that don't have an offense. That's why. And then Kellen Moore, the successful dude, got hired, and then you back to square one with a guy who don't know what he's doing. That's a stupid question. Why do you keep overlooking? Damn, if you had it, like, I mean, it's very simple. Like, if you got Andy Reid as your head coach, he the dude is his offense. So it ain't the coordinator or whatever. So any coordinator you got just helping him do his offense. Because there's a lot to do during the week, and maybe he don't feel like calling plays, maybe he do, but it's his. He designed it. Sean McVay, he designed it. Kyle Shanahan, he designed it. Nick Sirianni don't have no shit he designed. So he needs somebody else. He needs somebody else to just do the whole job for him. That's why. It's a dumb question. If you had a coach that got that, then you ain't got to change nothing. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about right now? So, why would you change? Because your coach is fucked up. What do you mean? That's the guy the article should be about. What the hell's the article about the quarterback for?
And you talk about Hurts is resistant to change. He tired of changing offenses every year. He want to have something similar that he can stick to, that he can work with. Simple as that.
But he not supposed to.
You don't want to keep changing your.
He ain't supposed to ask questions or nothing. Oh, okay, all right, do the okay. Come on, man, that's not realistic.
And he worked with the best coaches in his career.
And then too, I come down and talk about Joe Burrow don't like motion. How about that? How about Joe Burrow don't like going under center? Joe Burrow straight up say he don't like going under center because he don't like turning his back to the defense. Nobody talk about that though. Peyton Manning didn't like going under center. Okay. Sometimes quarterbacks don't prefer it, but like, all right. But he's clearly shown he's willing to do it.
Yeah.
When he does it, it works. All right. Well, you keep calling the plays then. That ain't up to him. Just keep calling it. Like, what are we talking about? I don't care. I wouldn't care if he likes it or not. If it's working. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's working.
But
he one of his best games of all time.
Yeah. But my point is he ain't no different from no other quarterback. Everybody got preferences. Human beings have opinions and preferences and stuff like that. It's the way it is.
That's why I like one of the pieces of the article. They make it seem like he's not supposed to have his preferences. He's not supposed to make audibles. Like every quarterback make audibles. That's what you do.
Yeah. Because there's the play that you call that you figure out during the week. I mean, shit, you put the plays in on Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever. Then there's the reality of what the defense is doing when you're out there trying to actually do it. Like, damn, I ain't expect them to do that defense. So you change it. That's football. What the heck is going on? You might have expected the defense to do a certain look that you've been like studying all week because they've been doing that on film. Game day, they might do something totally different. You don't know what the hell is going on. You got to be ready with other plays. Can't just do it just because Jay called it and just do it anyway. Against a scheme that you know going to stop it. That's stupid. Just dumb, man. You got to call protections. You got to change plays. You got to do all that. That's just quarterback 101.
Another thing that I want to discuss is one of these talk shows was saying, he brought up Jalen Hurts didn't play good versus Green Bay and the Rams. So you got to take those games out because they was playoff victories, but he didn't really help. That is complete nonsense. I went back and looked at those games, and Jalen Hurts threw 2 touchdowns against Green Bay. At the end of the day, no turnovers, and Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions. So he outplayed them. You can't say he didn't play good that game. Are you crazy? Jordan Love threw three interceptions that game when he beat Green Bay.
Yeah, well, stuff like that. I don't pay any attention whatsoever. That's just dumb. That's dumb.
Stupid stuff. I got another one, but I Hurts not coach.
And this is from Pro Fan Talk. Jalen Hurts, a coach's son, who's had 5 different play callers in the NFL, 2 Super Bowl appearances, a chip, and an MVP is not coachable. Y'all go ahead and run with that. That's what I've been saying. Because any other quarterback who has 5 coordinators in 5 years falls to the death for the most part in the National Football League. People make excuses. I mean, I remember Jay Cutler. People making excuses for him. 17 years ago, the Bears made one of the worst decisions of all time. They signed Jay Cutler, or they traded for Jay Cutler, and then kept him for 8 years. And he went a 2-11 versus the Packers, and he only went to 2 playoff games, and he went 1-1. So what I'm trying to tell everybody is,
basically, he said they make excuses for other quarterbacks that don't even win. You got a winning quarterback, and you trying to run him out of town, which is crazy. That's why I know it's got to be Nick Sirianni. Because why else would you leak these bad things about a quarterback that's winning? I don't understand that. It don't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm just not willing to believe that Eagles. I just can't believe the Eagles behind it. If so, I got to think about my allegiances. I don't support stupidity. If you don't like him or whatever, just say it. Just trade him. Go ahead. Trade him then. Nah, don't play with me, though. Don't play games. What you want? What you want? Arch Manning and one of them? Go ahead. See how that work out for you. Be another Carson Wentz. I promise you.
Yeah. That's a fact.
This is a guy. This is
Jalen
a
Hurts
guy.
wins Super Bowl MVP again, people are still going to doubt him. Maybe the dumbest thing, even if it was poetically written in the article, was this. The city was still basking in the championship glow as the Eagles, fresh off their Super Bowl ring ceremony the week before, opened up training camp in July. Beneath the public excitement surrounding the team was an uneasy undercurrent for some internally. A team source at the time described the state of affairs as a disaster and indicated Jalen Hurts was part of the issue, noting that whatever personality traits had rubbed people the wrong way before had grown since the championship win. Whoever Fowler's source is should be put in prison. What fucking curmudgeon is calling the state of a Super Bowl winning team a disaster in July? Who looks at Jalen Hurts after?
That's insane. Completely insane. Think about that. The year they won the Super Bowl, that July, anonymous sources, the team state was a disaster. Because whatever his personality was that rubbed people the wrong way is going to basically grow. That's just insane. That's a person that got an axe to grind.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
supposed to be your happiness.
Some stuff they just gotta ignore, bro. Like, they can't pay attention to everything. You just can't. Because I mean, it's always going to be somebody saying something stupid. And that's just dumb. That ain't even worth a reputation, man. What would you rather be? A different team that didn't win? Like, come on, man.
Oh my goodness, man. It's a shame as Eagles fans we got to deal with this nonsense because you got basically anonymous sources. These things are not confirmed. That's what I don't like. Things that you can't prove or disprove. It's just hearsay, and people just taking it as word. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's a bunch of nonsense. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I got one last piece.
I've been covering the NFL since 2010, since Cam Newton was drafted, and I can spot a smear campaign a mile away. It is very, very unique for a quarterback of Jalen Hurts' caliber and success to be discussed this way in public by leaked anonymous sources from inside the organization. This is what happens when you have quarterbacks who do not perform humility, who do not perform their role as a quarterback who is not white in a way that the executives in the front office and some of the people on the coaching staff want to see them perform it. We saw a very similar reaction to the way Shedeur Sanders carries himself, somebody who has never done anything to make us question his character, who for some reason was rubbing people the wrong way. Now, Jalen Hurts is rubbing people the wrong way. Last season, somehow, Lamar Jackson was rubbing people the wrong way. The exact quote is poor body language, not always bought in, not the most coachable, and the players notice. Tell me how they notice. Okay, anonymous source, not willing to put yourself on the record, because this is a clear smear campaign against your own quarterback. Not the most coachable. What are we talking about? He's been losing offensive coordinators to head coaching jobs because his offense that he is quarterbacking is doing so well that he got Shane Steichen a head coaching job and Kellen Moore. He hasn't had the same offensive coordinator dating back to college. Body language, somebody who is always composed and thoughtful. What is he not? He's not screaming enough for you. It is so exhausting and pathetic and transparent to watch these things said about very specific types of quarterbacks who do nothing publicly. It's always somehow something happening in the shadows that we can't see. Isn't that so fucking crazy? That the quarterbacks we keep hearing about that aren't trying hard enough, aren't taking it seriously, have bad body language. These are quarterbacks who have done nothing wrong in a league full of people doing shady shit all the fucking time. They have no character issues. And franchises like the Baltimore Ravens and the Eagles are letting shit slip. They're leaking information about their starting quarterbacks. It sounds like people who cannot handle the fact that Jalen Hurts carries himself like a starting franchise quarterback.
I don't know whoever she is. I just discovered her when you put me on to her, but she definitely doing her job. Because she's definitely breaking it down. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I gotta figure out which show.
But she just mostly be I've been seeing her on Instagram most of the time. But I think she was in the business somewhere. Probably was on one of ESPN, one of them joints.
People like her not gonna last long because they speak truth to power. They're not gonna just be accepting nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They doing their own thing though. Not really on the channel, so be independent, do your thing.
Sixers, man.
Good.
Sixers. You know, hopefully
We
we
had to talk
can
about
get
it
it
some
done.
other time, bro. Sixers, yeah, man.
Oh man, I seen that video on VJ too. The Ricky Jones.
Yeah.
Man, the ball gonna be a problem.
You saw Paul George,
I'm glad
VJ?
B-ball break.
Yeah.
Paul George teaching him. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I mean, he
Yeah.
got a mentor over there that show him what to do. And Maxie teaching him Paul George. So that's good. That's good. So what you think we gonna do this upcoming draft? What you want to do in the first round? You want to get offensive lineman?
Whoever's the best player that's available that we need.
If they're going to trade AJ, then I want a receiver in the second round, and I want an offensive lineman in the first round.
Well, if you do that, then yeah, you gotta get a receiver, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because
If
we
you
have
trade
to
AJ,
replace
then
Lane
you
Johnson.
gotta get a receiver. Even though it looks like they're getting a couple guys that they prepared for a nice little committee type of job by getting Hollywood and getting the other dude.
Elijah Moore.
But yeah, because a lot of times, a lot of times a rookie might not be ready.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good.
Yeah, the rookies are rarely ready. Like they rarely make impacts in the league in their first year.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends. If he's the only receiver on the field like the Giants had last year, and he's like the only guy,
yeah, you get somebody like that, you know, or Devontae, or like you know, something like that. Yeah, you can't count on that joint.
Devontae, I believe, is going to move to the number one slot if AJ do get.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Hollywood.
Yeah, of course.
I ain't got no problem with it. I think if we do this new offense like they said, because you got people that said he said there's no the guy Dan Cidio said that there's no way in a million years that he could run this offense. You got to tell me why. Why can't Jalen Hurts run this offense? Like, what do you?
Well, he already said he would never win a Super Bowl, all that, you know. So it don't really matter.
Yeah, he said the dual quarterback could never win a Super Bowl.
He just keep being wrong. He keep being wrong, and then he keep changing the goalposts. So don't pay that dude no mind, bro. I really wish everybody would just stop watching it, and then he'd just be done. But the people don't do that, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I got one last clip before we get off.
Jalen Hurts wins Super Bowl MVP again. People are still going to doubt him. Maybe the dumbest thing, even if it was poetically written in the article, was this. The city.
All this guy has done is get accustomed to change throughout his career. I mean, every year he's had a different offensive coordinator. The fact that he's been able to pull out the level of success he has with all of this turnover is insane. And this is the other part that really grinds my gears. Kellen Moore, the OC in 2024, had tried to implement new offensive concepts that Hurts did not always embrace per team sources. One of the sources said they believe the changes concerned motion and shift, recalling that Hurts was not receptive to the idea. And a third team source said Hurts was willing to experiment with new wrinkles, but if they were not paying off immediately, he was quick to pivot and express his discomfort. So you're telling me after they went in during that week 5 bye week and they completely changed the offense that Jalen wasn't willing to adapt? And here's proof right here. The next part in the article says Moore and Hurts seemed to find a compromise, successfully implementing 279 plays with motion during that season, good for 11th most in the league. There was so much creativity in the offense. It's all we talked about, how much they changed throughout the season, and it led them all the way to dominating in the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl. The real storyline, the real headline here should be, how can Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni not replicate the success that they had in 2024? And if I was Jalen Hurts and had to be subjected all season to a vanilla amateur level of play calling without any adjustments at all from the head coach after winning the Super Bowl and feeling like I'm on top of the world and we could make a potential dynasty, yeah, I'd be frustrated as well.
Well, that's what I don't understand. If him and Kevin Moore came together and implemented 270 more plays in the offense and went from like the 30th to number 11th in motions, because we seen it last year. People were talking about it. They won the Super Bowl. Why did Nick Sirianni just take that offense and then re-implement it? I didn't understand that. Maybe he's not capable of that because he's not offensive mind.
He's clearly not capable. Listen, man, the reality is, all right, we got a new dude, Mannion. He likes Mannion so far. So I'm just going to go with that. I mean, that time keep rehashing this dumb stuff. Stuff is stupid. Now, the next thing going to be, if they struggle a little bit, who fault going to be? They're going to try to blame the damn quarterback instead of blame Mannion. That's going to be the problem. But whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man.
So what do you think? What will be the next show we do? So we can plan something.
Yeah, just pick a day, man, and just do regular shows on days, whether it's Sunday, whether it's Thursday, Wednesday, whatever. And, take it from there.
Just pick Sunday. Sunday, since, up until the draft, we can do a show. Hopefully we get some Sixers shows in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we're gonna do a show for draft night. I think draft is on the Thursday. Usually on a Wednesday or Thursday, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go through the draft and pick who I think they should get in the first round. I'm gonna pick at least 10 people.
Just advertise it before that day.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. We're gonna sign off, man. So where can they find your channel, your name, what you talking about?
Yeah, they already know. Catch me in Flash Speak Sports, man. Man, ain't nothing. We talk about everything.
Man, Speak Sports. You definitely be talking about, a lot of women basketball. We got a big following over there. So if you want to hear about that, Andrew Reese, Caitlin Clark,
Eagles,
like that.
Eagles. Yeah, that Eagles, Sixers, all that. Everything.
Yeah. All right.
All right, I'm
That's
out.
what's up. So we're gonna holla.
Welcome to Philly Psych Ward. Think of me as a doctor or a patient, whichever you prefer.